Hi everyone. I spent 10 years in the offshore oil industry, the North Sea, West Africa, Gulf of Mexico. Getting oil out of the ground is a dirty and a dangerous business. People die. Wars are fought over oil. And transporting oil is just as bad. The name Exxon Valdez should still ring a bell for people in the room. And then we burn that oil in cars and trucks and buses, and we poison ourselves and our cities and our children with particulates and nitrogen oxides and all the rest. Global warming is far from the only reason that we need to stop burning fossil fuels. And if you talk about climate change, for some places at least, I think it's already gone past sustainability and into survivability. Meantime, if we look, electric cars are no longer the future. Electric vehicles are no longer the future. They're here. They're very now already. Modern EVs have plenty of range. They're cheaper to own than petrol or diesel vehicles. They're nicer to drive. They are just better cars. That's just a fact. Now, I think it's true that some people are still denying those facts, even TDs and even some TDs from Kerry, but Kerry or not, TDs or not, they're still wrong. We can and we must go electric as quickly as possible. There is a problem, and the world is lagging behind on one key element, which is charging. Long queues and long charging times are still common features of life with an EV. Now, I'm grey-haired enough to think that queuing for fuel for your car belongs in the 1970s and not in our future. Looking ahead, we're told that Europe needs 65 million new EV chargers in the next 15 years. That's more chargers every year for the next 15 years than have gone in cumulatively in the last 10. And that's just Europe. Now, a lot of these chargers will be at home, but millions are going to be needed in places as well, like post office depots, car rental lots, ambulance bays, and at highway petrol stations and petrol stations. And what you have meantime is EVs. These EVs are starting to arrive in real numbers. 20% of registrations this year so far are EVs, I think. So the charging and queuing situation may actually start to get worse than it is today. And we really shouldn't let that happen. I mean, that's just silly. But getting enough charging spaces out there isn't trivial, either in public locations or at fleet depots. It's expensive, and faster charging is more expensive. So right now, for example, inside the M50, just to take an example, there isn't a single super high-speed EV charger, not one. The fastest you'll find is 50 kilowatts, which is about one third of supercharger speed and about 1/7 of the maximum that's possible. So if you're charging there, once you do get to the head of the queue, you'll be charging your car even for an hour or more. And you'll have to hang around, because if you don't move your car immediately afterwards, you're likely to get fined for blocking the charger. Even at home, there are going to be queues for chargers. 60% of US households have 2 cars or more. In Ireland, that's about 50%. That means queues everywhere for charging your car. Now, whatever the faults of fossil fuels, and there are many, fossil fuel filling stations are everywhere, and filling up your car is really easy. Now, since we're all here to accelerate green, it's clear that there needs to be a better solution than this. And we're looking at policy goals. The minister's left. But if we look at policy goals, we need a solution to eliminate all of the real issues and all of the lousy excuses people make to slow down the adoption of EVs in society. We need a solution that does not imply 1970s fuel queues, that doesn't see fights breaking out at EV charging stations, and that is quite common. We need solutions that mean fleet operators can have high-speed charging for fleets without incurring huge costs. And one that means they don't use the cheap but slow AC chargers that save a bit of money but that then operationally handicap their fleet. And charging the fleet's the whole point in the first place. And even at home, we need a solution that doesn't require arguments at the dinner table every evening to say, well, my car's on the charger now, and you're the one who's going to have to go out at 2 o'clock in the morning to swap the cars over. And for people in apartments and terraced houses, it's already an issue in lots of countries. We need a better solution for those people. And thinking of the national grid, we need to actually exploit all those EV fleet batteries, particularly at high power and at large scale, to support the grid in moments of need, and not try to use EV batteries coming back through essentially 1950s domestic wiring. We need a real social solution right now rather than first come, first served. Fortunately, a team of engineers in UCD invented and patented that solution about 4 years ago. It's called Docchain. Remember the word. It's an extensible daisy chain system that you can deploy as a system or as a retrofit to an existing charger. It gives high-speed DC charging for essentially the same cost as slow AC charging in most charging applications. Most, not all, but most. And Docchain is being built today in Northampton with collaboration from UCD and from Imperial College London. and with grant money from the Department of Transport. That's the UK Department of Transport. Fixing EV charging is just one thing we're going to have to do if we're going to try and save the world. But it's a reasonably big one, and that's what the team at GoEV is going to do. That's the one we're doing, and we're going to do it globally, and we're going to do it fast. And if you want to learn more about it and the magic of what it actually does, we're down the back. Come have a chat. Thank you very much.